Hey everyone, Ben here. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you do enjoy today's video, don't forget to hit the subscribe button because we're trying to grow on the platform, and turn on the notification bell to be notified of all uploads and live streams. And if you did like today's video, then don't forget to hit a like down below because it helps other people to find our videos. And don't forget to comment down below on any suggestions for content that you have, or comment about today's content. Let me know what you thought. Let's get into the video. Alright, so for the next Steel Path Viable build on the channel, we've got Ambassador. So Ambassador released about a year and a half ago, and it's actually a very solid assault rifle for you to use, but without any further ado, let's jump into the build. So, we have Vital Sense for 120% critical damage, we have Galvanized Chamber for 80% multi-shot and on-kill plus 30% multi-shot for 20 second stacks at 5 times, we have Hunter Munitions for 30% chance to apply slash box on criticals, we have Galvanized Aptitude for 80% status chance and on-kill plus 40% direct damage per status type effect on the target for 20 seconds, stacks up to 2 times. Malignant Force for 60% toxin, 60% status chance. Critical Delay for 200% critical chance, negative 20% fire rate. We have High Voltage for 60% electricity and 60% status chance. And Thermite rounds for 60% heat and 60% status chance, with Vigilante supplies in the extra slot to convert secondary ammo pickups to 30% of primary ammo, and a 5% chance to enhance primary criticals, and primary merciless in the primary arcane slot. So overall, we've got 42% critical chance, which doesn't seem that high, but then you realize it's 42% chance per bullet, and this thing fires a lot of bullets. 6.2% 6.2 times multiplier for criticals, which is a pretty high multiplier, and then we have 93.6% chance status. So this is one of those builds where we're running mostly heat and mostly statuses and criticals. I cannot talk today. So we're running heat and corrosive, which is gonna melt just armor. Now you can run heat and viral if you want to help towards those slash procs. But I prefer heat and corrosive, but you can change it. So all you want to do, if you, let's say, want to run heat and viral, change that high voltage for, rhyme rounds. And that'll give you heat and, that'll give you radiation and viral. Which radiation viral is also a good mix as well. But I do prefer having heat and corrosive. So we'll quickly just add the electricity back on, high voltage. So that gives us heat and corrosion. It just allows us to melt through that armor pretty darn quickly. And then of course you've got the charge shot as well, which I'll go into. So this weapon has an alt fire, where you click in the right stick and it will change it to like a cannon shot, which uses a certain amount of ammo. So I think you can fire it 3 or 4 times and then it reloads the weapon. Pretty good, although I would recommend only using it once you've charged up primary merciless, otherwise it's not going to do that much. So let's jump into the mission. I'll show you what we can do. Alright, so we're here at Oxymoko in the Void, and I'll give a couple of reasons why quickly, I always do. So Oxymoko in the Void is one of the last areas of the game you'll have access to naturally on the Steel Path, so it gives you a good example of what you're going to be dealing with. Not to mention, it deals with pretty much all kinds of enemy types, enemies with just health and shields, and health and high armor, meaning again, you get a broad spectrum of what your weapons can actually do, but let's jump into this. So this weapon does start off a little bit slow, I will tell you that now. This weapon does start off a little bit slow. So you need to get a couple of kills before you can actually do anything. So once we get a couple of kills, you'll then see it'll start to pick up in speed. Mainly because of how high those criticals are we're hitting, and how frequently we're hitting them. Not to mention, because Hunter Munitions is additive, not multiplicative, you can get a lot done with this, which is really nice. So let's just activate Gloom, keep yourselves alive. And as you can see, we're doing not bad damage. Like, this weapon's not terrible. Like, it hits pretty hard as long as you're hitting consistently. Like, if you wait ages, obviously your merciless is going to go down, and then you're not going to get as much damage. But as long as you keep hitting things, you're pretty set for the most part. And because of how high the status chance is, Galvanized Aptitude is going to be proccing quite a bit. Because it's on like 94% status, so you're going to be hitting statuses very frequently. It's not as if you're not going to be hitting them at all. Now, I will say this much, like, as it pertains to assault rifles, I would still say my favorite one to use for the Steel Path is Flux Rifle, because Flux Rifle is just always good, but, like, this isn't bad. I'd put this in the same sort of domain as Kuva Karak. Like, it can work, and you can have a good time using the damn thing as well. Just be mindful of it not doing as high damage. Now, for anyone wondering why I'm not running Serration, or anything like that, not even a Bane mod, the reason I'm not is because of Galvanized Aptitude. You can get more damage with Aptitude. Although, I guess if you want to swap Galvanized Aptitude out for Serration or for a Bane mod, you can go ahead and do so. But I just find you get a bit more damage because of the status procs. At least for me personally, your results might vary a little bit, depending on what you see as more damage, I suppose. So it really just depends on what you notice as higher damage. Personally for me, I find if you run no base damage mod, but run Galvanized Aptitude on this, you get a lot more. Mainly just because of how high you're hitting, how often you're hitting those statuses. Because you're pretty much always going to land them, because it always takes more than one bullet to take out an enemy. And because it's like 94% status per bullet, it adds up. And especially on those targets with higher armor, that take a little bit longer to take out, you can definitely get a lot more from it. I'm also really hoping the Acolyte does not take too long to spawn, but we'll see. Actually, what I might think I do is, I might do a cut now, just to, I'll cut and come back in when the Acolyte comes in. There we go, Acolyte spawning, that took a hot minute. The Acolyte's spawning in, so now I can show you what this does against an Acolyte. Misery's not too bad. Where is he? Hello. So it can run through shields at an okay speed, as long as you can keep your shots going, which is nice. And it actually doesn't do terrible work against health either. Like, it runs through decently fast. Considering it's an AR, the cool thing is, because of the heat and corrosion I'm running, it runs through his armor like nothing. So because we're running through his armor, because Acolytes have incredibly high armor, it's not doing too terribly bad against the Acolyte. There we go. And that takes care of him. Another thing I want to quickly run through as well, before we end the video, is the alt fire. Now, the alt fire on this thing is not terrible. Like, it's alright, but I do want to build up my Merciless before I access it. My Merciless dropped quite heavily because of dealing with the stupid Acolyte, so I need to quickly get a few kills to get my Merciless back up. We can take this guy out. So swap to the alt fire now. So it's a big charge shot. Think of it as like an optical vandal, and that's kind of what the alt fire is. Which, like I said, not a terrible alt fire. It does a lot of damage. The only drawback is, like I said, you only get like 3 shots before you are forced to reload, which, whilst not terrible, isn't great either. Like, it does do work though, but I would only recommend using it once your Merciless is built already, because otherwise it can take a while to build it using this. Depending on how high you hit with your crits, of course. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this build. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, turn on notifications, join me on my socials. Those are all linked down below, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.